Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video, and in this one we're going to be looking at the London Landmarks pack by Orbx and seeing if it helps to define London a little bit better with its unique bespoke buildings and added functionality in the London area. Does it help to make the London area look that little bit better with and without the UK update? Well, let's find out in this video. Okay, so before we get to the London Landmarks Orbx pack installed, let's just familiarise ourselves with the default UK World Update. So this is London, just default UK World Update. And there's one or two things I want to point out to you here, because they will become important and apparent once we go to the London Landmarks Orbx pack. So we'll just take off there, trim up all the usual stuff. Juliet Bravo in front of us. There was a UK series a long time ago called Juliet Bravo, which I used to watch. His or her name does look familiar from live stream flights, but that may just be me. Okay, back to the main importance of the video. So, close to London City Airport, there's a bit of crumpledness going on. You're all probably very familiar with this. This building here to my right looks okay as we get deeper and deeper into London, though. It doesn't look okay. So we're coming up to the financial districts here, and yeah, the crumpledness and the war-torn look of London starts to become apparent. It was actually pretty disappointing when I first installed the UK update. I remember people harping on, there are all positive videos about the UK World Update. It's a lot more filled out, I've got to say, but I can't get past. I mean, look, coming up to these parts here, just looks crumpled and disused is the best way. And the financial districts here was a huge disappointment. I mean, look at it. Doesn't look good. Look at that. Looks like a bomb has hit it. Literally. Looks like a bomb has just exploded there. Yeah, the HSBC building's okay. Ugh. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Does not look good. And it, like I said, it was fairly disappointing when I first installed the UK World Update. I remember having difficulties installing the UK World Update. My internet, it just kept resetting, trying to download it, so I had to hardwire my connection, and then it was fine. I used a friend's internet connection to download it. Coming up to the central landmarks of London here. Again, let's just get outside. Looks better than the financial district. Still looks a bit disused and obviously a bit crumpled. Yeah. That part looks okay, it's passable. The more you pan around, I don't know. There's some shading problems going on, I find, sometimes with the gherkin as well there. I'm not quite sure. Gherkin's over here for those unfamiliar with it. And the crumpled buildings in between the landmarks, it just ruins the whole effect. I mean, look. Like I said, you're all very familiar with this yourself. Yeah, it doesn't do London any justice. Let's just trim up there. Any justice whatsoever, in my opinion. It fills out a lot of London. I'm going to show you later in this video. The timeline below is divided into various parts. Later below what it looks like without the UK World Update and London Landmarks Orbx pack installed. With this UK World Update, it did fill out a lot of areas. What on earth is going on there? Oh, I've missed it now. Yeah. What is that? Just looks like various bombs have got off in different places around London, and yeah, quite ugly looking in areas. Okay, let's now switch to the UK update with London Landmarks Orbx pack installed. And so to the main question, does having the London Landmarks pack by Orbx help to improve the look of London, flying around London specifically? Well, let's go and find out, shall we? We'll just throttle up, get back in the cockpit, and take off. And we'll just cruise around the main landmarks of London at a lowish altitude in live multiplayer. Can we see any familiar faces? I'm not sure yet. Take off, and just trim up. Up, not down. That's brilliant. And right at the start, not far from London City Airport, we should start to see a more filled out London already. Now this all looks pretty familiar. I believe there's a ship or boat coming up. Cruise liner, who knows? But I don't recall seeing in the default UK World Update pack. Now I may be mistaken. There, this cruise liner down there, was that in the UK World Update? I don't think so. And a couple of more unique bespoke buildings coming up to the financial districts here. Let's just get back in the cockpit to make sure. Throttle back a bit. And just try and maintain that altitude. Coming up to the financial districts, there's definitely more buildings around here. It looks a lot less crumpled and a lot more well defined. Sort of bespoke London landmarks pack added buildings there. Maybe it was good I was trimming up a little bit there, because I would have crashed into buildings. A couple of more bespoke buildings, added buildings. It looks a lot less crumpled. There's still a bit of crumpledness going on here and there, but not as much. This part especially looks a lot better defined. HSBC building there. Yeah, it just looks a lot more filled out and a lot less war-torn, shall we say. Let's now fly towards the landmarks. Not doing the best example of good flying here. Just trying to stay at a sort of steady altitude. I mean, this would do about 700 feet. Yeah, we do. Okay. Yeah, as you can see, more bespoke buildings around. With the UK World Update, they really do add to the whole experience, I feel. Still a bit of crumpledness going on. You can probably still see some buildings rendering in there. Especially downtown here, right in the centre of London, shall we say. These do look a lot better to me. Just looks a lot more defined is the best way to say it. With one or two added buildings, the Gherkin certainly looks a lot better to me, and the walkie-talkie building, even though I hate that building in real life. Don't hate it, just doesn't quite fit for me. Maybe too modern. But with the added buildings and added landmarks, yeah, I don't know, it just feels more defined. Much more defined than just the UK World Update. It's not perfect, obviously. Like I said, there's still some undefined, crumpled buildings here or there, but as you can see, is it just me? It just looks a whole lot better. Just adds a whole lot more to the experience. So there you go, that's the UK World Update with the London Orbx Landmarks pack installed. Let me now go to what it would look like without the UK World Update and just the London Landmarks Orbx pack. Okay, just for complete reference, I'm sure there's people out there interested. I was myself. I'm not going to explain why. I'll link a video if it's out in the top right, or link it afterwards if I do that video afterwards. Basically, I had problems with the marketplace, an issue. I had to, well, I reinstalled Flight Sim. Go and watch that video whenever it's out. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I reinstalled Flight Sim. I've not yet reinstalled the UK update. I've just installed the London Landmarks packaging. So this is like Flight Sim Vanilla without the UK update, but with London Landmarks package in or installed. I'm sure there's people will be interested to see how this performs and how it looks, basically. This was the way, I'll just throttle up and take off. This was the way I was flying around London for a long time before the UK update came in. You don't get any crumpled buildings or goodness knows what, but as you'll see, well, I won't spoil the whole premise yet. We'll just take off. Oh, let me just trim up properly there. And then trim up and stay at a sort of sensible low altitude. We'll see how we go. Now, that will do. Straight away, let's just get outside. Looks a bit bare around here, doesn't it? It looks like there's features missing. I do have AccuSeason still running, AccuSeason trees, but ignore them. Look at the building features. There seem to be, let me just control my trim there, a fair few missing compared to the UK update. Here's a financial district coming up ahead there. And as you can see, there seems to be like patches of land somewhere. I didn't notice this before the UK update. Of course we wouldn't notice it because this is the way we just used to fly it and we took it for granted. There's a lot of buildings missing around the financial area of London, as you can see. They've got a few bespoke buildings, quite a few bespoke buildings thrown in there. No crumpledness, no war-torn look, but I don't know. Just a lot of patches, just doesn't seem as filled out as it does with the UK update, crumpleness or not. See, there's quite a lot, just feels bare basically. Just feels like something's missing. Feels like quite a lot is missing in that area. And even when you get to the main landmarks of London, the buildings here all look very much default Flight Sim buildings, aside from the odd buildings that are in the London Landmarks. There's quite a lot of bespoke buildings in the London Landmarks package, and you can really appreciate them here when you see them. There's one or two dotted around, and there's more as you go into the centre and fly around London. Here's some more, but aside from that, it all looks very much default. And here's the centre of London. Let's keep our altitude a bit lower so we can get a better view of that. The centre of London looks especially bare to me, like a lot's missing. I don't even think the gherkin is there in the London Landmarks package without the UK update. Let's get outside and show you that. So this is the centre. Yeah, that doesn't look anywhere near as good. So yes, you don't get a crumpled building, you don't get the third world sort of World War III look to London. Things not sort of rendering properly, buildings not rendering. You've got beautiful bespoke buildings, but aside from that, I don't know, that looks very, very bare and barren to me. Although, like I said, let's get back in the cockpit there. I'm just about to, yep, just trim up a little bit. Just trying to stay low, but I don't know, it just doesn't look as good to me. Crumpledness, World War III look, withstanding, or notwithstanding. I just prefer the UK update regardless. Just adds a lot more features to London. But the London Landmarks package, you can see it for all its glory when you're flying this in its vanilla state without any world updates. As you can see there, some of the buildings, bespoke buildings, really stand out. What's happening with my aircraft? Really stand out. Yeah, just not as good. And so, recommendation time. Do I recommend that you go and buy and install the London Landmarks pack by Orbx? You know what? Absolutely. For the price, I think I got it actually on sale, maybe 30% off. It cost me just a few pounds, but it is just a few pounds. It's about £6 or so, or dollars. Something within that range. I mean, I've had it for some time, pretty much since it was first released. Wouldn't fly without it before the UK World Update. Now I've tried it with the UK World Update. Again, I wouldn't want to fly without it. It just adds, you know, there's still a bit of crumpledness going on. Asobo are aiming to revisit these sorts of crumpled areas, the main sort of photogrammetry cities, to make them look less crumpled. The sooner the better, I think, personally. But with the landmark pack installed, at least it's alleviating somewhat some of that crumpledness look, or that apocalypse look, shall we say. Somewhat. As you can see, yeah, it does add to me, and it goes quite far out, not just in the centre. If you keep travelling on the sort of outskirts of the city centre, you're going to find more and more unique looking buildings. There's one just below us. There's more over here. There's another one, and you know, if you keep looking, you're going to find more and more of them. Mixed in, of course, with the not very well defined crumpled. There's a good example of the crumpleness they're still rendering in. Mixed in with them. It's not perfect, but like I said, for the price, you can't really beat it. But do let me know your thoughts below. Have you got the London Landmarks package? Do you have it installed currently? If not, I will recommend you do. Let me know your thoughts below. Give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Many more Flight Simulator videos on their way. And I'll see you soon.